welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Join me on today's video where I'll be reviewing the second Merkur watch that I unboxed a few weeks ago on this channel. Now the first review I did of these both watches was this 38mm field watch. I love this watch, but I just broke it recently and I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But they do have a few different versions of this watch, and this being another variant. Now this one does come with a bezel. It does come with a dive style dial where you got these large markers and larger hands. So it's slightly different, but in terms of the case dimensions, it's exactly the same. The case is 38mm, but with the bezel, it does protrude the case slightly from either side, which makes it 40mm. Now, this particular watch does come in two other variations. You've got the bezel and one without the bezel, but same dial. They also have on pre-order a bracelet version, which is a beads of rice bracelet version. It looks quite good in pictures, but that is only in pictures. I don't know what the quality is like. I have reached out to Merkur to give me a bracelet or a watch with the bracelet. In terms of movement, it is the Chinese standard movement. I explained that in a lot more detail in the other Merkur video, so I'll link that video in case you want to check it out. But it is essentially a hand winding mechanical movement. So let's wind this watch up. I think it's about 35 turns. And then we're good to go. Now, how did I break my sort of peach style one? Well, I kept winding it too much and then I just felt it snap. What I was doing, it wasn't out of charge at all. I just throughout the day kept winding it, and one day it just went snap. I did open it trying to fix it, but I have no experience with these movements. I think I made it worse. Yeah, so basically it doesn't work. I might do a movement replacement, but I'm not too sure. But I am actually gutted because I love this watch. I wore it so much. Now, which brings me to some of the features on this case. I think the case definitely does stand out. That circular brushing present on the lugs, the polished sides, the overall shape of the case. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It fits so well on wrist. Now, in terms of this one in particular, the bezel itself is bi-directional. There's no clicks, it's just a smooth turn, which is okay, I suppose. You can't get misalignments. It does have an aluminium bezel insert with silver markers, which is a nice vintage touch. They do use a K1, they call it. It's basically hardlex, a domed glass crystal, which goes back to the vintage aesthetic. Looks quite good. And you know, I am a big fan of these 38mm watches that Merkur have bought. They look really good, and there's so many different variants. The price on this one is around £111, which is around $130-ish. But I do have a code which you can use on the Merkur website. Now the code is the Watcher Fans. It will give you $50 off a $200 order. Now, as I said in the previous Merkur video, I would order a couple of these. Because I think they're just fantastic watches. I think they've got such a charming appeal. Now, this particular model, they've sent it on this tan style leather strap. I think it's a bit of a mix or a hybrid because I've not felt this style of leather. Finished really well, a gorgeous little taper as well. You got color match stitching present, really nice texturing as well. Silver hardware polished with Pierre Paulin, which is one of their other sister brands. The dial construction on this one is slightly different to the previous model. You've got applied hour markers, very large. They're all tapered and they've got this polished frame all around the outside. You've also got a printed minute track in white. Just below the 12, you've got Chinese text, and above the 6, I think you've got 19 jewels and maybe military. I could be wrong. Handset is a nice tapered design. You've got some slight chamfering, and it is fully polished, and you can see the lume applied in the center. The second hand has a large oversized tip just to give you good visibility. I really like the proportions of the handset. You can see the second hand touching the end of that printed minute track and the minute hand almost touching the same point. So really great proportions on the hands. These things are very important just to get a good overall proportionate visual on the watch. And the dial color itself, you know, I wish it was a more gloss black rather than this matte effect, which gives you this sort of grey look. Let's go ahead, check out the lume, see if it's any good. Now the lume is actually quite good as far as the hour markers go. You can see it's been applied really well. There's ample layers present. I've not had any direct UV exposure to this watch. The handset could do with a little bit more. You can see they are significantly duller than the rest of the hour markers, and that's because, again, very thin application of lume on those. So the strap itself is quite comfortable. Now these watches are absolute strap monsters. You can put pretty much anything on it, and it does fit well on the wrist. That 44.5mm lug to lug is extremely compact, and it's one of the reasons why I probably broke this watch, because you just can't get it off wrist. It's just so comfortable, really good to look at. So this is definitely another winner from Merkur in my opinion. Just be careful on that movement. I absolutely love this case. I think it's the best case they've done. Fits so comfortably. I've got a 6.5-inch wrist, and I think on bigger wrists as well it'll fit great. If 38mm is too small for you, maybe this is the version to go for with the bezel. Bezel does increase the diameter to 40mm, but still weighs 38 on wrist, as the case below is still 38mm. Loads and loads of variants available. I've actually got some new ones since I made the last video, so you can see on the pop-up on screen where you've got some slightly different versions now. Point to note on some new Merkur releases, take a look at this one. They've got a new dive watch with a 3 PM crown. It looks awesome. It's quite similar to the previous Merkur dive watch, which I absolutely love. And knowing Merkur, they probably got that bezel just right. So I have requested that model, so stay tuned to see a review on that one, because I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm dying for Merkur to come out with another dive watch. So that's it from me today on this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to check out my eBay store. I have left a link within the description. Anything from brand new watches to used watches to a whole host of accessories, including straps, leather, silicone, you name it, all very reasonably priced. If you do want to reach out to me for something specific, then contact me on my email address, which again is within the description. Thank you once again, guys. Your support means everything.